We're live now, so.
This is the meeting for the Economic Development Committee. I'd like to call to order Mike Reichert.
Here.
Tom Felder.
Just called in and said he'd be absent,
Okay.
or texted me or something, however you got hold of me.
And Melissa Frank.
Madam Chairwoman, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Dr. Fellner for tonight.
Okay, I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I know it's
okay.
It's a
Procedure.
technicality, I know, but
Have we had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
I have,
I have.
and I will make the motion to accept the minutes from our June 21st meeting.
And I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda that was posted.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next we have the discussion items. The DORA, the designated outdoor refreshment area. Here is a handout. What I have done is a survey has been created to find out the interest for having a designated outdoor refreshment area. So I have spent time with the community and with business owners, and what we have here is the results as of today. And I would like to say that it has been quite favorable. Most of the businesses are in favor of it, and so far the businesses that I have that are in favor are 1803 Tap Room, Fox Winery, Planet 14, Galleon Community Theater, Brownella Cottage, Wolf Hardware, Raven's Cloak, Reiki and Treasures, Expendables Tattoos Incorporated, and SD Tattoo. Against, Elks. Oh, and I forgot to put the Owls is 4. And not sure, Bistro 217. I would like to say that most of the community business owners think that would bring more business into their stores, into their establishments. We had a question, kind of an answer about DORA that we gave to the businesses. We spent time talking to them. A lot of them were unaware of some of the rules. Some of them were concerned about bringing alcohol into their establishment, and I explained that there's definite rules to the ordinance, and I've also reached out to the Galleon, David Zach. I'm sorry. I apologize for not knowing the whole name of the Crawford County Partnership. And also Erin, who has said that she would assist us in furthering, research, since she helped with the Bucyrus.
Aaron Stein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bucyrus.
With the Crawford County Partnership.
Yeah. So I think that our community and business owners feel that because now they understand that it's how regulated it is, and the idea is to bring in economy into their establishments, which it doesn't allow for you to take a drink from another establishment into that other establishment. So there's very, strict guidelines, and it was created to boost business and economy within this ordinance. I was, really excited about talking to the businesses and how they want to do things for, our younger generation. And I'm feeling very positive about it. So that's what I've been working on. And again, I said that we've had very favorable results.
Well, I guess I've got a few questions. One was, now you have been talking to the businesses. Who else has been out there discussing it with?
I know that Carol was involved. Yes.
I know, yeah. The reason why I asked is because I've done some kind of legwork indirectly too. I've read some articles concerning DORAs in other communities, not Tiffin, because Tiffin, even though that's been brought up, is a college town. And my experience with college town, it's a different animal. I don't care where it is, who it is, how it is, it's a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've stumbled across several articles. One that really struck me was one from North Canton.
Mm-hmm.
Repository is the name of the paper. Recently had an article about their DORA. The thing that struck me, one, was that, first off, that while they've had the DORA now for a year, and they did claim that they have had some monetary increases, the article didn't specify where that was actually at. It just said that it put a figure out there. The issue, thing was that all of their DORAs seem to be always tied to an event in the community.
Mm-hmm. Which is
So it wouldn't be just like this weekend you'd have a DORA in Gary or in that community. It would be that, okay, we have this festival or that festival or whatever it is that it's tied to, and the DORA would be a plus to that event.
yes, that's how.
My only concern is I'm wondering if the people are thinking that as just a strictly a DORA is going to increase the amount of traffic, foot traffic uptown. Because it seems like the information I've discovered by doing the research is every place that I read about pretty much had it tied to an event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the other thing was that they had, in this particular article, they had some business owners that was interviewed. And during their interview, they mentioned the fact that they had found that it had not performed, their words, at the level that they were anticipating. They did not have, what they found was they had great responses from their regular customers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the normal customer. There was not a lot of new customers that they experienced.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is, I'm wondering is, have you or Kara, and of course she's not here tonight, but have you reached out to the folks at the chamber or Experience County? One of the things I think that we need to look at is that this is something that is a process, just like when they put together the Oktoberfest, when the folks put together, the lady, I can't think of her name now, she's going to shoot me now because I know her. But anyway, for the Pickle Run Festival.
Sarah. Yeah.
Yes, Capretta,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you very
I
much.
talked to Sarah.
Those are, I I mean, there's a group doing that. I think that if this is something that some folks want to see in the community, I think those organizations need to be more of the forefront in it as opposed to city government.
But
And the reason why I say that, let me finish. The reason why I say that is because we as representatives of the community, we have these folks that are business owners as well as some that the community in general, but you also have a large community, group of the community that are not, and I'm sure would not be really interested in having open containers running around downtown Galley.
true,
Okay.
that would be the case in any city.
Right. So my point is, I think, plus the other thing is, again, is the idea that this is not something we do ordinance on, create it, which we do have to do by state laws.
Right, that's,
But the question is then who's going to take it from there? And unfortunately, we've had this discussion 3 times now, and I've yet to see anybody from either the chamber or Experience Galleon make a call, stop in. They're not even here tonight. We're the only 2 here.
and I have not reached out to them because you're telling me now to reach out to them. I'm also new in the whole process and procedure. So I thought what I was looking at was we needed to get and work on an ordinance, and that would you know, once we are working on the ordinance, you know, the other entities would, you know, be involved. But since you say that,
Well,
that is exactly what I will do.
Right. my
Is reach
suggestion-
out to the chamber and to Experience Galleon, and in reference to your that people don't necessarily like people with open containers. Well, my experience is during Oktoberfest is the beer gardens are closed off. And my experience is I have seen people stand there and down 3 beers so they can walk around town. So within 30 minutes, they're completely like,
I'm not trying to.
well, and even Fox Winery said the same thing. She goes, these people were here for last Friday, because I was in there. And she goes, and they sat here and downed their wine because they couldn't leave with it. And she goes, I don't even, like, what was the point of that? And I said, well, that's why one of the benefits is I know this is happening. And I know that businesses are not being frequented because a lot of people are at the tap room in the patio. A lot of people are at Fox Winery, and they're not quite making it past the door because you can't go past the door, but they would have liked to walk around. And my feeling is, if you don't like, if you're not, you know, someone who would be in favor of Dora, that's okay. You don't have to come. If you don't like shopping, you don't have to go to Third Friday. If you don't like Oktoberfest or crowds or rides or whatever the case may be, you know, I feel like we're selling short our younger people that are buying houses, investing in the community, are going to Crestline and Bucyrus to spend their time because they do have special events and Dora. And I feel like we're losing out. And when you have an ordinance, you can have an ordinance. I think Bucyrus just has an ordinance, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 to 11. It doesn't really matter if there's an event going on. They just
Right.
have an ordinance. So you may see 1 person or 2 people, or when this is the preliminary stages, so when we talk about doing an ordinance, I obviously need more professional help, but my point was to talk to the people that in the community and these business owners, and what I have found is so many people. I mean, the Owls, Heath and Kelly Watkins, they have 2 stores. You know, I didn't mention them. Just, I didn't find one person, and I must have talked to, that was against it.
Well, you
Except
guys
for-
said the L.
Because I got a letter
Yeah. we-
at the last
Right,
meeting.
Right, and they're not necessarily against it, they just wouldn't participate.
Yeah.
And you know what, and that's okay, you don't have to participate, you put a red sign in your door and you don't
Well,
participate.
part of that is because of membership issues, I'm
Well,
sure.
no, there was, in Crestline and Bucyrus, some people just didn't want to participate, and, you know, like some store owners, like I talked to the owners of Wolf Hardware, and they, you know, Amy's like they have the candles for sale in the cross stitch, and I said, you know, if there was a third Friday and you wanted to stay open for a couple hours, I said, they cannot bring alcohol in here. They would have to throw it away and then they could shop in your store. And I said, I don't know about you, but if I had a glass of wine, I'll buy 3 candles or whatever. I'm just saying, you know, and she goes, well, we probably wouldn't stay open because we work long days, but I'm still for it. And I said, well, if there was a day that you wanted to stay a couple hours and sell a new product, you'd have that option.
Well, that's-
And they were, you know, they didn't realize that. Some people didn't realize, even the guy at the tattoo shop's like, oh, I said, no, you cannot bring alcohol into a non-licensed business. You could throw it away and walk in and shop if they want you to.
Yeah.
But you cannot bring it in, and they were like relieved to hear that. The only place you can't even bring it into a licensed, place.
Another place that has.
because the whole point is if somebody got a beer at the tap room, and you walked to Fox Winery because their wife wanted wine, you walk down there, you can't take the beer in. The whole point is to provide business for Fox Winery. So now you're in Fox Winery, you don't have anything, you have to order from them. So the whole idea was to boost the business economy. And a lot of people didn't understand that.
Right.
No, I understand.
And which it makes sense.
Right, yeah, because I can see my husband getting a beer and I would want Fox, but I don't.
And he'd have to walk with you and maybe
Right,
window
he'd just wait
shop.
outside for me while I
Yeah,
ran.
and then if he's done, he could throw it away and walk into Fox Winery with you, and then you could get one and.
The only thing that I don't want anybody that's watching, or even you, or anybody to think that I'm necessarily against it, because I'm not. I'm just pointing out some questions I had.
No, that's, I
And
think those
because
are,
of the fact that, Crestline just had the first one, so it's the first one.
I think they've had-
Cyrus has not had one yet, I don't think.
no, they have. Crestline's every Thursday, or every Thursday, Fridays, like, the ordinance,
Right, but
is-
again,
and
my question would be is, how successful that is. I mean, we can, I guess the
well, I
thing
felt the
is-
same way about Third Friday. One time I came up and there was hardly anybody here. The last one I came up, it was crowded. And same with some other
But
events.
again,
Like some events are crowded.
right, let's back up.
Yeah.
But Third Fridays are more of a family orientated
So
thing.
when you mentioned that, that was my whole point. The guy that's downing the 3 beers at the beer garden so he can go to the rides on Oktoberfest, for me, that is worse than a guy being able to casually take 1 beer, walk around, and he's not going to drink as much as the person standing there downing 3 beers. That to me is unsafe. And they do it.
Well, I don't doubt that.
And then they
I-
hurry up and they drink it so they can go walk to the rides with their kids. And in a half an hour, they're like, you know, when you could just walk with a beer. And I understand the family and the kids. A lot of people drink at home in front of their kids. A
Well,
lot of
that's it.
people,
Right, I understand
I mean-
that, but that's getting into personal.
Right.
Realms and stuff. What we're discussing with the Dora is at least the impression I've gotten from yourself and from Kara and from reading part of the whole idea is to generate a atmosphere where the local businesses benefit. The question I have is that to go through and create, which is first place.
Sure.
Are we spinning our wheels creating this DORA and we essentially will not, the downtown area won't experience anything of it. The other thing is, again, I think that I am disappointed that, and I'm sure it's out there, people talk about it, yet we still have not seen, or you've not been approached or anybody. I know, of course, Kara's not here, so I don't know on her, but the idea that we have two organizations in the community
Right, and
that should be the one championing this, and yet I have not heard a single peep out of it after 3 meetings.
And I think that's a good point. I think that, you know,
Well, I don't think that city government should be spearheading this. While we can be supportive of a feeling for it,
but if we have to create the ordinance, I mean,
so
if we have to,
we have to do the paperwork, say, for example. Just
So-
use that as a term.
so let me go back and get with these organizations and talk to them and reach out to them. And I know that the Crawford County,
Yeah. No offense.
Crawford,
No offense.
Crawford partner, yeah.
No offense to the
and the
partnership.
thing is, Crawford County,
Right.
Crestline, Bucyrus, Galleon. To me, it's kind of like a natural thing. Now we all three are trying to boost the economy instead of Crestline and Bucyrus have it, but you
But
know,
here's the
Galleon
Here's the only
doesn't.
problem. Here's the only problem. I'll reserve my comment about the partnership. My issue is, my concern as representative of Galleon is Galleon. I'm not interested in Bucyrus. I'm not interested in Crestline. They have their own folks that watch out for them. Our responsibility is the folks that are sitting at home that may be listening to this conversation.
And I don't
And
want
that's-
those, yeah.
Well, and I understand that part of it, but I find any time that there's a discussion along these lines, well, we're one big, no, we aren't.
But in a way
Okay.
we are, Mike.
Well,
I mean,
no, I disagree
with social media, with the way technology's going, with people traveling.
Now, I'm not saying there's not interaction, but
There-
here's the thing.
It's much more, there's much more communication now than there was. So kids all
But
know
guess
what's
what?
going
The
on.
dollars, Bucyrus isn't sending us dollars over here. Okay? Crestline isn't sending us dollars over here. We're not sending over there in reverse. The idea, my issue is not with Dora. I'm just going to get off track here a second. But my issue is that I want to make sure it's good for Galleon, the community of Galleon. Okay. The involvement of the partnership is fine as far as it goes. But the partnership is the partnership, and they are geared more for Crawford County. Okay? The folks in New Washington could give a rip what Galleon is doing. They're more interested in what they're doing and what they need to develop and stuff. The county is interested in what the county can do. Not to say there's not a interaction.
I
But
think,
anyway, but
I feel the same way as you do. And the reason I reference them is because they're working on building economic development, and that's what I want for the city of Galleon.
I agree.
And that's why I reference them.
As long as their economic development is for Galleon.
Well, I mean, it's a reference. Crestline is doing it for Crestline, which has helped their economy.
Well, let's step
Bucyrus-
back. We'll go back to
So-
Dora. We kind of
Yeah.
get a feel.
But
But anyway,
I
my
get-
thing
I
is,
get, yeah.
my thing is I'm not against it,
mhm,
okay? But again, I don't want to go through a big process of
Mhm.
doing the legislation and all that stuff, and then find out there's tepid interest. See what I'm
But I've
saying?
already done, I've
No,
already
I understand this.
talked to a lot of people.
I agree,
Yeah.
I agree, but I'm saying is that if
I don't think
was a
there's heavy
business-
interest, honestly.
Well,
I
that's
think there's
fine.
very much
Fine.
interest.
Well, that's fine, then that means
Just
that,
because-
in my opinion is, then that's fine. Then we should see, and you should get a response,
From
a
the,
very good response,
okay,
from both those organizations. They're good organizations in our community, and I praise them all the time. But again, if this is something that the community wants to do, then they should be at the forefront.
and
Now, we will
that's
be,
a great idea.
I think the government that we
Mhm.
are, if that's what the community wants, we should be supportive in that regard. But I don't think we should be leading the charge on it. I think.
Well, and
that
that adds me
because
to the
of-
other point is, Gallion's such a small city, and there's how many different types of organizations that I'm trying to keep track of to reach out to for such a small city. There's Experience Gallion, there's,
They get, tourism dollars.
okay, and there's
And then there's the chamber
the chamber,
Right.
there's the Crawford.
partnership.
I'm just saying, so
Well,
it's
yeah.
kind of like, I'm kind of like,
You're,
wow,
you're
there's,
the, you're
there's,
the new.
right, I'm the new one.
Yeah.
But it does kind of like a small city, and there's quite a few, I get it, so I will reach out to
Well, I
these
think
entities.
that my suggestion would be Julie is
Mm-hmm.
a wealth of information. Whenever you get a chance, sit down with her. She can fill you in on parameters of things in that regard, in the sense of knowing who's who and all this, so that way you know who to approach, who to talk to.
Okay, I can make an appointment, and the way I feel is, you
Okay,
gotta
just
have
call
a,
her.
you gotta have a cheerleader. Like, I was kind of like, okay, I went to him, I thought it was a great idea, Kara and I talked about it, and I'm that type that it's like, okay, I can get the community, I'm just that way, that's my personality. So now that I've kind of done that, you're right, now let's get down to,
Well,
but to
yeah,
me, that
I
was the
wanna
first
see-
thing.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
see, and
Let's see
now,
what the.
talk-
let's
Start
see.
researching the
Yes.
process of what all we have to go
Right.
through.
Okay,
I know we
so
have to do several
let's do
things,
that, and then
public
when we
hearing.
meet, next month,
Right.
I will have a lot more information, and I will have met with these entities, and hopefully, and I will also have met with Julie, and we will bring more information.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a plan?
Right.
Yeah, I'll have the whole process, I'll
Right.
have a timeline of what you have to do for the
But I think the
process.
first thing with anything is
Well, the reason why
sparking the
the reason
interest.
why I'm bringing
Yeah.
this up too is because
I
this
knew
was
that.
brought, the door was brought to my committee by
Mhm.
Kara, which was great. Then you had brought it up the last time, and now we're talking about it again. I don't want this to dwell in a
Well, and
mode of just a discussion mode.
part of the reason was I came on in May, and then, brand new, so what's been 3
Sure.
months, she asked me about it, and I was saying, well, what is that? And then I went to the one, and I said, wow, this is a great idea, they're doing all this stuff. So it's kind of like, I think if I would have been there from whatever, when she started, it might have seemed more streamlined, but since I came
No,
in,
and that's why I'm
then I
trying-
sparked the interest.
Right, and that's why
And
I'm
really,
trying to-
yes,
I
yes.
know there's a process, because I know when I watched Bucyrus, they kind of did part of it, then they didn't finish it, so then they had to start the process over.
See,
So
that's the other-
There was something that,
there's dates and deadlines that you have to meet. and
right, no,
stuff,
I
yeah.
understand, I completely
Which I
understand.
don't know that process, which I need to do, and we could work together and get a timeline and determine, we have to determine who's gonna sell the cups, who's gonna buy the cups.
Okay.
Where they're gonna, cause like I said, it's hard to put city money into something like that
Sure.
with alcohol being involved.
Yeah, I know. So I completely understand it's a process, because I've been reading it, I researched, I read the ordinance, and so I know that like I said, my position is kind of like, okay, I would hate to just talk about it and then not know who. Well, now I kind of know.
And I agree.
And now we
I
can
agree.
start
Right.
Yeah.
the process, and
Right.
you're right, it's a process. And the cheerleader just needs to.
Well, that's the reason why I brought it up, because I wanted to make sure that.
No, I
you know,
understand.
It's a worthwhile type because I've always been for anything that will make galleon shine. I'll use that term. So I'm kind of an all of the above guy, but I also am tempered with a business sense.
Mhm.
And so, being from a business
And
background.
I think that's respected,
that's-
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I brought these questions up and stuff.
And that's why I mentioned when I did this research on the demographics about the average age, and it's changing. It wasn't what it was 13 years ago, and that was my whole thing is younger people are buying homes, moving in, and they, you know, they want things to do. And
Well, great.
I'm just saying, you know, I think you need to look at who's, you know, moving into the community, and, you know, just that's kind of what I looked at is
Well, that's what.
you can't always stay, you know, okay, we've always done it
No,
this
no, no,
way,
and I
you
don't
know, because then you've got like the 25 to 42 years or whatever, 62, that, you know, they're kind of like,
Well, there's an old saying that is out there that is, you have to change with the times.
Yes.
Okay? And then you look to the future, but you interpret the future, you also cherish the past for the knowledge and the experience that it entails. So, yeah, I mean, I am not in the realm of sitting here and, you know,
oh no, I
that's the-
completely understand, Mike.
I
I think that those are
I
very
think-
good points, and you've very much educated me, and I think that those are great ideas, and I think we have a plan now.
Yeah,
So-
I agree.
I think it was a good discussion, and I thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought it up, Madam Chair.
Okay, moving on to the Turk recommendation. Is it Turk? Turk?
TIRC.
Yeah, TIRC.
I love it.
Well,
Yeah, let's not do the acronyms.
okay, let's not do that.
Tax Incentive Review Council, what they do is.
Oh, Jackson said, oh,
Yeah, under Ohio Revised Code, they're charged with reviewing all of our tax incentives that we have given. So there used to be enterprise zone agreements. And those were started when you were able to get, when the tax on personal property. But that went away, so, and now enterprise zones can only be used for real property, and it's just not as effective. So those are kind of sunsetting out. And the city has developed a Community Reinvestment Act, our properties. We expanded our CRA, and we include all of the city of Gallion. So that's what we've been doing now instead of enterprise zone agreements. Enterprise zone agreements are approved by council, then they have to go be approved by the Crawford County Commissioners.
Right.
CRAs get approved by city council, and they stay here.
Yeah.
okay.
TIFs get approved by, it gets recorded with the Crawford County auditor, so the abatements go through and stuff, but yeah, it doesn't have to have any approval by the Crawford County Commissioners, so. And that, our last abatement or enterprise zone is expiring, we have no new ones, we'll just have CRAs and the tax and increment financing, which is the TIFs, so.
Which actually it's expired in 21, right? But
Expired in 21, taxes payable in 22.
22 this
So,
year.
yeah,
So it would be
So how long was the enterprise zone agreement in effect?
it was 15 years.
Okay, and
So I
the
was actually
benefit
with the
is,
county when I
the
was-
benefit is the Tax Incentive Review Council does not have to be approved and go through council and approved. Is that what I'm hearing?
what the,
The TIRC?
no, what they're wanting now is they want us to approve we need to approve their recommendations, that's what's all attached to there now, so, yeah, that's what they're wanting now, their recommendation is all attached behind that ordinance.
Okay,
Is what they want, so. And there's the letter they sent me.
sure, okay.
The one caveat is the enterprise zone, they wanted it canceled because, and I'll explain, that was kind of one of them odd, because they didn't know how much Schwan was gonna, it's Schwan's the food place.
Mm-hmm.
when it entered into, all of them entered into agreements with the schools. So the schools' taxes get abated, but they try to make the schools whole with those abatements, especially enterprise zones, by entering into school compensation agreements. So they donate the money, so they get the benefit, they're still paying the amount to the school, but it's as a donation now instead of a tax that comes through. So it's abated. But with Swan, the amounts figured and the estimated value was wrong. So they were paying the school compensation agreement $14,000 annually. But their tax annually on their building was only $7,000, maybe closer to between $7,000 and $8,000. So they were actually paying double what they would have paid if they just paid the taxes instead of tax abatement. So they kind of quit talking with us and they changed. So they kind of fell off the thing and they wouldn't talk to us anymore, or we would have tried to cancel it. It would have been beneficial for them to cancel it. But the school, they kept billing them because they had the agreement, for the $14,000. They did go to collections and get their money from them, and they wanted us to pay the collection.
Who quit talking to the school or Swans? Swans, okay.
Yeah, because they used like an accounting firm, and then they switched accounting firms, and they never let us know which accounting firm we used, so we never had any more contact information.
But then pretty much what this is an annual thing that comes across that we have to, as council, have to approve. And like Julie said, then it goes on to the commissioners for their final say too, because it's a county issue with that. The only question I had, which I posed to Julie, was the verbiage related to the enterprise zone expiring. The question I had was whether we needed to take and have a subsequent resolution declaring that
To terminate
that was actually terminated, or whether it would just simply be treated as it had completed and that was it.
Right, and it's kind of confusing. So if you look at the
Yeah, because it says continue, and then the Swans is the only one canceled.
right, it says cancel, but then when you look at over here, then when you look at their paper that went through, here's the paper that was passed out at the meeting, because I go to the meetings. All right, they all wrote under approve, which they should have wrote under cancel. I mean, and then they marked, which was the chair of the meeting, the abatement exemption is in compliance and is now complete. It is complete, but then they wrote pending resolution terminating from town. So it's kind of one of those odd ducks. It's completed.
What are the pros and cons of either one?
Why
does one business?
If we cancel it, well, the reason they want to cancel it is because they're not in compliance by not paying their school compensation for this past year, which they're going to have to collect it again. They can't collect the previous years by using a collection agency, so they'll probably do that again. The schools will. By canceling it, that taxes have already been billed. It's already been a year for the school compensation. I don't know that it's going to do what good it will do. I mean, other than telling them, okay, we cancel it. That's all. That's what it'll do. It won't change one thing.
They won't lose any.
No.
Monies or funding.
No.
Okay.
No.
That was my, yeah.
It still costs them double by paying the school compensation agreement instead of paying their taxes.
Right.
Okay.
So
because next year for 2022 taxes and 23, the school compensation agreement is done. And they will just start paying their regular taxes of $7,000 or $8,000, whatever that is, instead of the school compensation.
Okay.
right. So
you as a business owner,
well, you have a list, or we have a list of folks that
Right.
are on the tax.
Yeah, David Zach is one of them.
Right. I did see that.
Yeah, and we have the various businesses that are currently part of the abatement. So,
And I can talk with him. I can find out if we.
Well,
I can talk with him and see, because he's kind of like an expert in that stuff, that's his thing. I can call him and ask him what good will it do? Should we just do it or what? 'Cause-
But yeah, we'll just send an email,
Yeah.
maybe so we're not,
Yeah.
maybe just, I guess, further explaining and, just because when I hear things like so-and-so quit talking to so-and-so, then I feel like there's conflict, and then I feel like, okay, how do we resolve this conflict?
Yeah.
And that was my, is someone doing,
The guy
that's the only thing
The
I.
guy that we were dealing with on this was with the one accounting firm that no longer does it. So that Matt, whatever, so I don't know what accounting firm we went to. So Matthew, whatever his name was, I can't remember now. He no longer has an interest in it. When you call it, I mean, he would talk to me, but he said we don't represent that anymore. So, and they didn't know who they were doing for.
Well,
At least that's what they told me.
I mean, it's not going to deter Schwann's from doing business with the city of Gallia.
no, it has nothing to do with that.
No, because like I said, the taxes was abated,
Well,
Okay.
they did have 100% abatement, so
Yeah.
they'll start
Remember
paying their
that
taxes and.
the ordinance is drafted from the recommendation. The only question was the enterprise zone agreement, which technically has expired as of December of last year. So right. So as far as that goes, it is what it is. Okay.
And
But it's the question arises that, like I say, I asked about was because of the verbiage in the ordinance itself, and as Julie pointed out in the actual on the recommendation sheet. So that would be the only question I would have on it. Other than that, I think we should probably go ahead and send this to full council, and then we can take, and obviously she can look into the particulars.
Sure.
And if we have to draft a resolution or make a modification.
and for the benefit of the other council members,
Yeah,
just so, because if they have a question, they
right, yeah.
might have the same question.
Well, the other thing you have to consider is, if we would not pass this tonight, either it goes to another committee to get on the schedule to be put on.
We have 60 days, so if we go to the committee, it can ride for a couple of readings, so I just got it.
Yeah,
So you and I,
So if you guys pass it on to full council.
oh, okay.
It could
That's what
it could go through the
So,
three readings.
we can make,
Right.
Yeah.
Make a
We can
motion to-
We can,
go ahead, make a motion to pass this on to council?
right,
Okay.
and that's gonna be my recommendation, and matter of fact, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
To send ordinance 2022-54 on to full council.
And I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
She goes to full council then.
Yep,
Yes. Okay,
that
good.
works,
Good.
that works, and then we have the three readings, so they could go through that
Right,
process.
right,
So-
and
And
again,
anytime in that, we can amend it or add that other ordinance.
Right, right,
Which makes it nice, because it has time to go, so.
right. That gives us plenty of time.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing, because otherwise it would either have to go to another committee or.
No, I understand.
And it doesn't even have
No,
an
I
emergency
understand.
clause either, so.
Sure.
So
No, thank you, I understand, yeah,
it's,
makes sense.
it's all one of the things.
Process,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Do we have any other business?
I can't think of anything right offhand, no.
I don't have anything. Would you like to?
Well, if you want to take and note when our next meeting is.
Oh, the next meeting is scheduled for August 17th, 2022 at 7 p.m.
And with that, I will make the motion to adjourn.
And I will second that motion.
It is 7:47.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.